operation.
I'll buy that for $1.
It's my time. New year, new Mr. Gellis. That's another 365 for me to shit up on your melon. That's a whole nother vibe to take to shake you out your skeleton. 52 weeks to bring the heat and I ain't sweating it. Whole last season smoking tree like it was medicine. COVID-19 quarantine wasn't stressing it. I done made the best shit of my life and now I'm flexing it. Know that if y'all put me in my hole, I come out better, bitch, and that's word of my brethren.
Welcome everyone to this week's episode of 2Ds and an F podcast. Joining us today is the lovely and immensely talented Julie Slick. You may know her from her work with the Adrian Belew Power Trio, Crimson Project, Echotest, and many, many more. We are very, very excited to have her on the show today, and we hope you are as well. So let's check it out.
So Julie, let's talk a little bit about, of course, what we want to talk about. Your bass playing talent is just out of this world.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, and we did see that you may have been on stage with or played or replaced Les Claypool at some point.
Yeah, that was like, I mean, I still think at the age of 22 at the time, that is like still, I think, my favorite moment in my career.
And it should be. Tell us a little bit about it.
I had been playing with Adrian Belew since 2006.
Yep.
And that was pretty early on. That show was in 2008 in Quebec City. We had played this festival, the same festival. It's called the Festival d'été, the Festival of Summer, that they hold every year. It's like 2 weeks long, and it's all throughout the city of Quebec. And it's like, it's like a little mini, France inside. I mean, the Quebecois will kill me for saying that, but like it is kind of like, everyone speaks French.
Yeah,
it's very European.
Yeah,
so there's these pop-up stages all throughout the city. So it's really quite cool. And so we played there in 2007, and we were actually ranked as like best in show. We played in the rain. It was crazy. So they loved us so much, they invited us back the next year, and not only to play just one set, but to play two sets. So we played the first night, like on the second.
And this is Primus you're talking about?
So this is Adrian Belew Power Trio.
Okay.
The first show we did kind of secondary
right.
stage.
My bad. Yep.
No worries. And we opened up for Zappa Plays Zappa, and then 2 days later we played on the big stage, which was the first time we ever played on the main stage, and that was opening for Primus, and that was not technically the Power Trio. That was called the Friends of the Crimson King. So it was kind of like the first iteration of this Crimson Project that would happen many years later. So that was the California Guitar Trio plus us plus Tony Levin and Pat Mastelotto from King Crimson. They were already on tour with the California Guitar Trio, doing their like CGT +2 thing that they do. So we got to play a couple songs. They got to play a couple songs.
What is that?
CG3 California Guitar Trio. So
Okay.
that's like a whole bunch of. So on another tangent, it's like a whole bunch of Robert Fripp has this school called the Guitar Craft that he's created in the 80s, and they all tune their guitars in fifths instead of fourths, so it's kind of like a cello, and
That's cool.
It's called New Standard Tuning, and these are students of that program, so and they're pretty successful, and
Wow.
it's all like
Okay.
it's acoustic music, but
I've been out of the game for way too long. I don't even know what that. I'm like give me 6 strings and what's like tune it into, I don't know.
Yeah.
G, D.
So this all starts on C. So a lot of the songs are in C.
Okay. Yeah. That's
I just started playing a 7-string guitar, so I got
Nice.
some catching up to do. I'm almost 50 years old.
who plays the 12-string guitars anymore? Anybody do that?
I think people, in Nashville for sure they do.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's like a
Like
huge
acoustic
studio.
or just like electric?
Both.
Yeah.
We had 12-string guitar on one of our Echotest records. But anyway,
Okay.
I digress. So getting back to the story.
Sorry.
All good. I can go off. So I mentioned that we had a day off in between before we opened for Primus. So this is an important part of the story because I think it's hilarious. Yep. So we had already played, so we have this day off, and we had seen the Whalers, down the street. It was pretty awesome. Mm-hmm. And then we come back into this, big conglomerate hotel where all the bands are staying, and all of a sudden we just hear somebody shouting over from like the hotel bar lobby kind of thing. Hey, Adrian, how you doing, man? And it's Les Claypool sitting there, and he's got he's got a bottle of Malbec on the table. He's just by himself drinking this got this Malbec, and he's got his top button on his pants undone, just sitting there like, and he's like, man, I just had the best fucking
like
steak.
Al Bundy.
Yeah, totally. Like, hand down the pants. I just had the best fucking meal of my life. This steak, man. I'm like high from this shit. and so he's like going off on this meal that he's just had, and of course my brother, I'm trying to remember if I think Eric had already gone upstairs to his room, so it's just me like texting my brother, you need to get down here right now, because he loves Primus, of course.
Oh my god, yeah. They're amazing.
And from what I can remember from that conversation, Les was talking about his daughter going to circus camp, and how he was so nervous when she was on the trapeze, and I'm thinking, of course your daughter goes to circus camp. Les Claypool.
Yeah.
So they're just like catching
his
up.
Music just sounds kind of circusy.
Yeah.
Maybe he plays the background music for it or something.
Totally. Maybe there's some deal.
Does he just hold normal conversations with that like microphone he has that takes all the bass out of his voice?
Yeah.
Just fucking scare the shit out of everybody.
Yeah, just the megaphone and a Malbec.
Yeah.
It's on the rider. So I'm just sitting there just like, totally like shocked, not saying anything, just absorbing everything I can. And all of a sudden, we're talking about, he's like, man, I'm real excited for you guys to be opening for us. Excuse this Les Claypool impression, by the way. And
you go, just put a little bit of more southern accent on. Where's he from anyway?
Well, twang on.
Like, it just sounds Ohio /
I mean, I know he's in California. I think he's
Is
from
it California?
It's
weird. He's got like this, like, he's like, I wonder where. I got to look this up.
I know,
where
do
he
it.
was like from.
Really from. I don't know, because it could still be California. I don't know. But I know for sure that's where he is now. Anyway, so we're talking about, how we're going to do this set, because we didn't plan anything for this show. We're just like booked for this opening slot, and we just kind of figured, okay, I guess we'll play a couple songs. I guess California Guitar Trio will play a couple songs, and then we'll all like collaborate together on some Crimson material, and we decided that we were going to end our set with, and it was a really short, it's a festival, so it's probably like 20-minute set, We're going to end this set with Thalahun Ginjeet. And of course, Les is like, oh, Thalahun Ginjeet, I want to play on that song. So Adrian's like, oh yeah, you want to join us? He's like, fuck yeah, I want to do that, yeah. So, instead of you doing your solo thing, like you, to me, like you and Tony and me, we can like trade bass solos. And I'm like,
right on the spot.
Okay.
With no practice or preparation whatsoever.
No, and I'm just really relatively green to this Belew gig, and I'm just like all of a sudden being thrust on stage with two legends that I have looked up to my whole life. I know as a 22-year-old, and then we have Les at the time was in his 40s, and then Tony was in his 60s. So it's like this generational, really cool thing. And so we get to the show, like fast forward to the next day. I'm like crapping my pants and like really excited. And, we're laying out the stage, and the way we set it up, my brother was the drummer in the band at the time. So we set up like the Power Trio where he was, all the way on the left. Adrian's in the center. I'm on the right. Pat Mastelotto is right next to me. Tony Levin is in front of him. And Les Claypool is going to be on the other side. So the three bass players are all around Pat. And Pat Mastelotto plays really, really loud. Like, I have tinnitus because of that man. Because of the way he drums, and also because his monitors are super, super duper loud. So, of course, Tony doesn't have any Pat in his monitor. He's like, oh, no, I'm good. He's right behind me. And Les walks out. He's just guesting on that last song. So he doesn't have any, monitoring set up at all. So now let's fast forward to the gig. Who cares? There's 15,000 people in the audience. Whatever. Like I'm just looking to my right, like, oh my god. There's like, I just want to impress the two people to the right of me. I don't,
The heroes, yeah.
Exactly. So I see all these like red flashing lights in the audience, which, by the way, when you play to that many people, it's kind of a weird phenomenon. Like it's almost scarier to play in like a smaller room where you feel people's eyes on you. You know,
Can you see the people out there?
Not really. You just see like these lights.
Right.
Because there's
so
such
it
a
doesn't feel
distance.
as big, maybe.
Yeah, because they have like the security gates and everything.
Right.
Like there's some press people in the between taking pictures and stuff, which I would love to have a picture of that. But I never found any. But anyway, like, so again, I'm not really concerned. Like, I'm just like in this moment, holy shit. Because I look
you're
over
just trying
to my
impress the guys behind you.
Yeah. And so Les walks out and he's got an Elvis mask on. And I'm just like, because of course the crowd's reacting. And we start, into the song. And pretty quickly in, and of course every time it comes around to like my bass solo, my hand is like, I feel like it's frozen to the fretboard, like it just won't move. I'm like, move, damn it. Do things that are cool. Because this is my first time like trading solos with these kind of guys, because I had the opportunity 2 years before to play a solo after Victor Wooten, and I declined because I was only 20 years old and it was like my 8th gig ever with Adrian. So anyway,
we won't fault you for that.
No, fuck no. But nowadays I would just turn on like some of my crazy pedals and be like, woohoo, just do me. I feel more confident, as we get older, right? We get more confident, or hopefully. Right. So
we do.
Yeah. So after a few, after like the first round of solos, all of a sudden Tony and Les look at me like they are.
Where did this come from?
No. They're just completely lost about where one is, because Pat and my brother had worked out this double drumming thing. So my brother is playing all the downbeats and he's holding it down, and Pat's doing all this crazy electronic shit, which is like blaring through his monitors. He's squeezing like toys, pandas, and like making all this crazy racket, so they can't hear shit.
Hold on, you squeezing toys?
Literally, he does.
Like squeaky toys?
He does squeeze squeaky toys. and they're just completely like, they have no idea where one is, and I have my brother in my monitor, so I know where one is. So here I am going like, here's one, and I'm just like, I am showing. So I don't even know what I did for my solos, but all I know is that I showed Les Claypool and Tony Levin where one is, and I kept giving them like, here it is in the song. And so after that I'm just like,
what is one?
That's all.
One?
Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1.
Oh, okay.
2.
Yeah, where one is on the beat, because they're just totally lost about where they are. They're like, we have no,
It's not mistakes, it's avant-garde.
Yeah, right. It was jazz, free jazz.
A lot of people do that, right?
Yeah.
A lot of like, especially if you're going live, don't you do like a little bit of an extra something?
Yeah,
but make it longer or something.
Keep in mind, these are bass players, so like we have to. We're in charge. Like if we're off, it's gonna sound bad, and especially if we're like all playing like relative like harmonizations of what each other are doing. Like, you don't want to.
What about the drummer though? Isn't the drummer? Can't everyone lead off the drummer?
But the drummer that's loudest, that's right next to us, is playing crazy stuff.
Offbeat.
Yeah,
okay.
Totally offbeat.
So it's hard to get.
So it's throwing them off. So if in bass frequency land, like if you're playing like 2 frets off or something, like, it's gonna sound really bad.
It's gonna get muddy real quick.
Yeah. So people are gonna be sad. People are gonna be disappointed.
What are your top band? What are your favorite bands?
Do you
have like jam bands that you like?
Jam bands. Primus would be one of the jam bands I consider,
On stage, maybe, yeah, okay. They would be a good jam band, yeah.
I like that kind of jamming, like, I'm more of like a Radiohead kind of person.
Yeah,
and like Flaming Lips, and
yeah, okay.
As far as modern bands, of course, Tool, and I've never seen Queens of the Stone Age, but I would like to. But
is Tool in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? We had this conversation last episode, and I think I might have fucked up by saying they are, and I don't think they are.
I don't think so. I feel like I would know that.
I think they should, though. They should be in there.
They'll get in there.
Yeah.
But I don't think he wants to go in there. They just got on Pandora like a couple months ago. You know what I mean?
I'm disappointed. I noticed they were going to headline Bonnaroo, and now they're not anymore, which is
oh wow,
that's sad.
So there is concerts going on then.
Apparently.
Soon.
Yeah, I mean, I my first shows are happening so far in October and November, and that
Where
shows
are they at?
in Denver and Chicago with Start
Oh,
Making
wow.
Sense.
Wow, you're going all the way over there.
Yeah,
Cool.
I mean, these were shows that were booked last spring, so they're getting,
Yeah.
and then they were postponed to the fall, and then now they're postponed to this fall. So
Is that your own band, or who?
No,
is
that's-
that you
that's
playing
a-
with someone else?
that's a Talking Heads tribute called Start Making Sense. That's from
Oh, no
Bethlehem.
shit. You're in
Yeah.
a Talking Heads tribute. That's awesome.
Well, I just guest with them sometimes, and so
Yeah.
we did these shows, 2 years ago, I guess now at this point, where we were celebrating the 40th anniversary of like the Live in Rome concert. I don't know if you ever checked that out on YouTube, but that's with Adrian Belew, when my boss is playing in that band, and they have two bass players. So there's Tina Weymouth and there's Busta Cherry Jones, and they're doing this crazy cool stuff together. So we're doing like that set exactly. So
Awesome.
I've already done it, so I have to relearn it and do it again.
So what were you working on like in the past year with no, like, with shows being up in the air and nothing booked, just writing a lot?
It's interesting because you'd think that, but honestly, like, without having that input and like going to see other live music and like just being surrounded, even just like going out and like doing normal stuff, like going to a museum or going out to eat, hanging with friends, conversations, all that, like, subconsciously impacts you as an artist and makes you, create things. And I always find that I write like I'm the most prolific if I'm like touring a lot, or if I have like a bunch of work to do and I'm procrastinating, and all of a sudden I come up with a riff.
Yeah.
So without having any of that, it was actually really quite difficult. And I only wrote a couple of things, and I basically just forced myself to like learn covers of songs, so just to keep my brain and my fingers nimble.
Yeah.
And so honestly, that's what I've been doing and will keep trying to do. But I do have a record that with my band Echotest, and that's with me and another bass player from Italy, and then a drummer from Italy. So it's me and two Italians. So I haven't seen them in a long time. I miss them very much.
Well, yeah, we were listening to some of that. That's some good stuff.
Thank you. So we do have a record like waiting. It's just a matter of me getting my crap together and editing the tracks, like getting them prepared to send to Todd McCoy.
I was watching your guys. You have a set on YouTube at
Ardmore.
At Ardmore Hall. Yeah,
Nice.
really, really good. I noticed in
Thank
the very
you.
beginning, he was using the finger sticks.
The funk fingers.
Was that like just a nod to Tony Levin?
Yeah, so Marco and I met at this like King Crimson camp that we do every year in Woodstock. And so I met Marco, actually met Marco first on MySpace in like 2007. So that's how old we are. And then I met him in person in 2011 at the first camp. But that was like a really overwhelming experience because that was the very first camp. There was like over 100 people there from all around the world. Here's little Marco coming up to me. Hi, I'm Marco, from MySpace. I'm like, oh, hi, and that's really all I remember. Except also we did this like big camp jam, which was kind of a clusterfuck, to be honest, when there's 100 people in a barn and like Tony Levin's like holding up notes of like, okay, all just bass, all just drums, now we're going to play an A, B sad,
I need a drink.
minor, major. Yeah, exactly. No, they're plowing them,
Yeah.
And I remember that there was a moment where he held up a sign that said Marco solo. And I thought, oh, well, if Tony's like calling him out, like he must think he's good, because I came like 2 days into the camp late. I wasn't there for the first few days. So, I must have, he must have recognized something in him that was really cool. So, that was kind of cataloged. And then in 2014, so in 2012, 2013, I lived in LA. I actually lived in Danny Carey's guest house for a few months, which was amazing.
Yeah.
And
Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah.
Does he party?
No, not at all.
Oh, okay.
No, I mean, it was just like, it was great. It was like we got to spend Thanksgiving and Christmas together. We listened to the Beatles on vinyl on Christmas Day. So it was really sweet. And it was really just like, they were so nice to me from the get-go. Like, I just really hit it off with him and his girlfriend at the time. I think they're married now. And they just basically said, look, like, when you come out to LA, come stay with us, get yourself grounded and settled. And, you know, so I did. And I got an apartment from around the corner from them. A few months in, you know, I couldn't just stay there. Of course I wanted to, but I had to get my own place. It was just great. And, you know, now, like, whenever Tool's in town, Danny will text me like, hey, you want tickets? You know, come on out, bring your friends. And
That's awesome.
it's ridiculous. It's
you
completely
go.
ridiculous.
That, that picture you put on Facebook the other day of
Yeah.
is that you recording him in his house?
It's not in existence anymore. That was the Stump Factory. That was like their little treehouse kind of bungalow. They had like 3 houses on their property. So their main house, that one, and then there was the guest house where I was.
Mm-hmm.
And they still have the main house, I think, but they moved in a different part of LA.
Amazing.
So yeah, we were just like goofing around Christmas time, like, and you know, ridiculous. So I lived there for a year, and then I, you know, had a whole bunch of touring in 2014. So I was like, all right, let me just put everything in storage because I don't want to pay rent while I'm on tour, especially like my living situation was, you know, the lease was ending. So it just, you know, made sense. And side note, like the day I did that, I didn't really have a plan. I just was like, okay, here I go. I don't know where I'm going to go next because I still had a few weeks before the first like tour day. I had basically a month. And so I hit up my friend Marco Minnemann, another awesome drummer.
Oh my God.
I know. And because he was saying like, come out and like hang with me in Lake Elsinore, like 2 hours in, like on a train. So I was like, okay, do you mind if I come now? And like, I don't really have a place to stay. And he's like, oh, I'm about to go on tour with the Aristocrats for Joe Satriani. So why don't you come, you know, house sit for me on this lake? I'm like, okay, sounds perfect. Take the train out there. That night, he's like, hey, actually, do you want to go out to go over to my friend's house? This is pre-COVID, you know. We miss times like this. Do you want to go over to my friend's house? And, you know, they sound like they really want to meet you. He's a really cool guy. I'm not doing the German accent. And he said he's actually, his name's Derek Riggs, and he's the guy that did all the Iron Maiden album covers. And so he's like the creator of Eddie.
Yeah.
So I'm like, fuck yeah, I want to go over there. So we go over there, and I like immediately hit it off with him and his Bahamian wife. And they're like, we love you so much. Why don't you come back tomorrow and we're going to go whale watching on this sailboat. Do you want to come? I was like, sure. So next thing I know, next day I'm on a boat. And
is the Bruce Dickinson going to be there?
Yeah, exactly. And then they were saying, well, we haven't seen any whales in like, you know, 5 years or so, but you never know. It's a gorgeous day today, and we'll just see. So we go out. 4 whales breached that day. Jeez. So that was kind of a sign for me, like, okay, you're doing the right thing. This is a good journey. So then I put a memo on Facebook because I knew I had all these tour dates lined up. And I said, just reaching out to the internet, hey, I'm in Europe with Crimson Project this year. If anybody wants to book some shows, I'm going to be in Europe and this time, and I know I want to stay because it's like, you know, I'm already getting a flight covered over there, so I may as well just like hang out and like do some shows of my own over in Europe.
Where'd you go in Europe?
So 2 bass players reached out to me. So with Crimson Project, we went all over. But then so the one bass player was in England and the other one's in Italy. So it's just funny. I thought it was funny that 2 bass players reached out to collaborate because, you know, you'd think it'd be a drummer or a guitarist or, you know, something else. But no, yeah. 2 bass players wanted to jam. So originally, so then I first went to England to Birmingham. And
Birmingham?
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 Yeah, Birmingham.
Banging.
Yeah. And I'm trying to do my Peaky Blinders. And so that was a week, and we did some shows. We just improvised everything. It was really cool with my friend Steve Lawson. And then I went to Italy and met Marco. And again, both like I just assumed we're just gonna like improvise and, you know, have fun. And I'll play some of my songs solo, and, you know, he'll do that. And immediately, you know, upon meeting Marco for the second time in person or third time in person, it was the first time we really like sat down and like started playing together, something just like magical happened, and we realized we just started writing material because we had like a few days of rehearsal time to kind of figure out this set. And by the way, these 2 shows were in Tuscany, so I mean,
Yeah. How far pre-COVID was this?
this was 2014. 2014.
Okay, so way before.
Yeah.
Okay, so plenty of time. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is kind of like the beginning of Echotest, and he just, at the time, he wasn't really using many effects and pedals and things. He was doing like more prepared bass technique, which is like taking clothespins and, you know, putting them on the bass, and, you know, using the funk fingers and, you know, to make the bass sound, very percussive, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And he was playing 5-string, and I immediately reached for my 6-string bass, which is a bass 6. So a lot of people think it's a guitar, but it is technically a guitar, but it's an octave lower. So the strings are a little bit thicker, and I also have MIDI MIDI pickup built into on that, which means that I can make the bass sound like an organ or a guitar or a synthesizer if I want. So it's really just a vehicle to create. It's, you know, and it feels a little bit more comfortable than a guitar because it's a little bit, it's like halfway between. It's my hard to play bass, easy to play guitar.
Yeah, that's one of the next items on my list to get is like a high end 6.
Nice.
Like
Now I really want like somebody make a bass 7. Ibanez has made one briefly, but they I don't know if something was like maybe messed up with the intonation on it, because it's, I don't know, it might be one of those things that's just like luthiers are like, I don't know how to do that, but and also I don't know how I would then like model because of course then I want MIDI on it, so I don't know how I could like get all those strings triggered properly. Anyway, that's nerdy stuff. So then, and of course I use like lots of harmonizer effects, which, you know, I can play one note and then get 4 notes created out of it at different, you know, they can be played in unison or at different delayed times. So there's a lot of effects happening, a lot of stuff going on. So we don't really just sound like 2 bass players. It sounds like almost like a full band.
Yeah.
And so we just immediately made our first record after that. Just like kept sending files over, you know, over the, you know, Dropbox, and so that was in April. By June or July, we had our first record. Yeah, basically done. And then we just kept writing albums, and so because I made that connection with Derek, he and I actually flew Marco out to LA once to meet him because he's a huge Iron Maiden fan. He and his brothers have an Iron Maiden tribute project, which was like another sign. Like when I got in the car, like when I first met him, and I noticed like the Iron Maiden bag, and I'm like, oh, let me tell you who I know now. So Derek actually did our last 2 album covers, which is just like mind blowing.
Yeah.
So
I saw Iron Maiden 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, open for Ghost, which I didn't think was right. Because,
that's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I liked Ghost's first album, but every Iron Maiden album is better than every one of Ghost's albums. So I don't know why that happened. Maybe they traded off during the tour, but
yeah, maybe. You never know.
They're still just.
Could it be they're just?
Have ever
could
been.
it be they're just taking what they can get at this point? Could that?
No,
I mean,
no way, dude. Iron Maiden.
Or it might have been
how
just
are
like
they opening? How is Iron Maiden open for somebody?
They might have like just like given him a bunch of money.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's probably my guess.
Yeah.
Usually money's involved.
But I did want to touch on, not to sound sexual in any way, I did want to touch on Tony Levin a little bit. I had a bunch of questions, but I only have these 2 very important questions. Have you ever seen him with his shirt untucked? And 2, is he very careful about what he eats as to not sully his mustache?
I would say I don't.
Question, Mike.
And I've been on a tour bus with that man. I can say that I have never seen him with his shirt untucked.
Okay.
He's not an untucker.
He's a tucker.
I've not seen one picture. It's a wife beater tucked into a nice crisp set of slacks.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And even at like a funeral or something, probably he just untucks. He's like, fuck it.
No. And then, he's always. I think I've never like really observed him eat, but I've never really seen anything in his mustache unless we've been we're in Russia and we're drinking vodka.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only time he ever really cuts loose because he's a vodka drinker.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
So I mean, otherwise he is like pro. Yeah.
Oh man, that's playing with someone like that is that's got to be insane. Like, did you like hold yourself back from saying how much you loved Peter Gabriel and his work with him, and just like I would be constantly asking him questions about, you know, when you recorded So with him and when you're on tour with him, all that, and instead of just getting to know him as a person, I would just be constantly asking him fanboy questions.
I try to not be like, you know, because I mean, I respect all these guys. I mean, even just like, I mean, still 15 years playing with Adrian, and I still am like, this is insane. So, you know, I think it's just about like, be cool, you know, and the stories will come. And that's how I get them, really. It's
Speaking of fanboys, though, Mike, can you bring up the video where she's playing and some fanboy or some boy is painting a room behind her?
Yeah.
Oh, the painting video?
Can we bring that up and talk about that a little bit? I just want to know about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let me see here. Now, is that higher part? Is that you as well, Luke?
So that I'm just playing along to the original track that we recorded.
Okay.
And mine's actually frozen.
Mine's frozen too.
Oh, great.
So
Hear it.
yeah, we can hear it.
Oh boy.
You can see my sweet leggings.
Yeah, those are pretty dope.
Those are pretty sweet. What
Yeah.
what the hell is that? A transformer or something? It's like a
It's like a unicorn versus a T-Rex robot.
That's cool. And you got the socks to match as well.
And there are 30 people that don't like it who I don't want to be friends
Wow.
with.
Wow.
frankly.
How could you not like this video?
I don't
Fuck
know. I think they're like, this painting technique is terrible.
Yeah. Who's this
They
kid in
didn't use the
background?
right kind of drop cloths.
Yeah. So he's the one that made the video. It was his idea.
Oh, the kid, the guy that's painting?
Yeah. He had to paint his room in Queens and was like, why don't you... Cause,
All right, Mike, you turn it off now.
Yeah.
When he
Okay.
just said, "Okay, can you paint my room, or can I paint my room while you're playing?"
Yeah, basically, he was like, because I was gonna hire him to do the Supercell video for Echotest. We had met because he did the video work for Start Making Sense when we did the recreation of Stop Making Sense the fall before. So when we met, you know, he gave me his card. If you ever need a video, I'm like, yeah, I want to make a video for my band. You know, I was like, I want to hire you for this Supercell video, which is highly conceptual, and he thought, well, let's just do this other, like, I think I can help you get like a viral video, because I had just done one that I just recorded with my phone of me playing along to another Adrian Belew song from that record called B3. It's like a 90-second, 2-minute long song, and Bootsy Collins shared it on Facebook. All of a sudden one day I was getting all these notifications, like people commenting, and I was like, what? And I actually was at an Humphreys McGee show because I'm friends with Chris Myers from that band.
That would be a good jam band, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so I'm like, all of a sudden I realized, like, looking at the original post, I'm like, oh, Bootsy Collins shared it. That's why my phone is blowing up right now. So in continuing with that concept, he was like, this guy was like, let's make you a better video, because I have like real professional equipment.
Him painting
and stuff.
in the background.
Yeah.
He thought like,
how pissed were you when he slapped you with the paintbrush?
You can see that I'm really happy about it.
That was that on your unicorn pants, or
No,
was that on your face?
He would be dead.
Oh,
No, those are fine. Those are in the dresser over.
Okay, good. That's good.
Now that I'm looking at that full ass paint bucket right next to your pedal board.
Of course.
I'm gonna I'm gonna minimize that, so I stop looking at it.
Yeah, it was a little stressful. And that's why I'm like so stoic and focused. But it worked. Obviously, how many views does that video have? So
Yeah, that's a good
Probably like off camera when it finished, you punched him in the face, didn't you?
yeah, yeah. All right, that's it. The last take.
You'll never paint rooms in this town again.
Yeah. And there, you'll notice like towards the end, like the GoPro battery died. So I had to like re-record. So there's like few scenes where it's like, why is she in a different place and there's no painting happening? That's why, because we were missing that sweet fretboard footage.
Now you got to get creative. It's all right.
Yeah, exactly. So
Nice.
Boy.
that's that story.
So I want to talk to you a little bit about cooking as well, because I've had the chance many moons ago to sample some of your culinary delights, I believe, at a New Year's Eve party
That makes sense.
that I got very drunk at and left. Or I left and then got very drunk. Something. I don't remember.
You probably got
but-
drunk at the party because that's what usually happened at those
And then
parties.
left and
Yeah.
got more drunk.
Yeah. But have you, like with touring everywhere, being in so many different countries, like especially around Italy, is there anything that you picked up that you brought back here to the States with you that like what's an average thing you make every day? Is it?
Well, I mean, I honestly, like, I should have been doing that. I will say this because, we were in quarantine. I had a whole year to do it, but I've been threatening to like write a cookbook because there are definite recipes that I've learned all over the world that have inspired me, that I've adapted in, my, weird American mutt way.
Yeah.
And I think it would be interesting to tell the story. It'd be the one time you don't want to you see these memes go around like, you want to confess to a murder, make a recipe and like put it in the beginning, because everyone's always just scrolls down to the bottom for the recipe. And I do feel like people would like to hear the stories like of Les Claypool drinking the Malbec and so like give a little bit of that. I mean, I had a blog back in 2008 where I kind of did that, and I it was kind of like a tour diary, and then I talked about the food that we ate, and then I would like make a recipe for that. The problem is like the way I cook is the way I kind of make music. It's just all kind of like an improvisation. I'm like this and this and this, so I'm never really like writing it down and like getting it precise.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason why I'm like still struggling with that. But I mean, obviously there's a lot of Italian food. Having spent like almost basically half the year in Italy for a few years there in the beginning of when Echotest started. So, I mean, for example, I made risotto yesterday, and then I've learned how to make pizza, of course, and, doing it the right Italian way with not too many toppings because that's against the rules.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some Japanese dishes that I still haven't made that I would really like to make, like okonomiyaki, which is like a savory pancake, and lots of things from Spain because I spent a lot of time there, making tortilla, and of course living in LA.
Did you run with the bowls when you were there?
Oh, hell no.
But was it going on? You just decided you didn't want to do it? Or-
No, I was in Granada. I wasn't in that part.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pamplona.
Yeah. No, I was not
I
there.
just feel like bowls are running all over Spain. I don't know where.
No, I mean,
Maybe.
I'm not. I mean, I'm a pescatarian, so I'm not really into the whole bull thing.
Yeah.
That's bullshit.
Yeah, but it's like it's kind of cruel what they do. So not kind
Yeah,
of. It is
at
very
the end,
very
yeah.
fucking cruel what
It
they do.
is.
So
Yeah. I did something similar to that here in the States. Obviously, they didn't like kill any bulls or anything like that, but
yeah,
there was a big tomato fight afterwards, which was crazy.
That
and
sounds
tomatoes fucking hurt when you get hit with a tomato.
I imagine, and that would be amazing slow-mo footage.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I was thinking of writing a cookbook with recipes to make if you have trouble sleeping and you need to fall asleep. It's just very heavy, dense,
Get your
starchy.
chemistry
I
all
just-
set out, or
that make you depressed and
Get the-
tired. So that
get
you
the
make
Dr.
sure you
Dreadful
get
drink lab out.
I have a recipe
12-hour
for
nap.
you that I had earlier for lunch today because my mom encouraged me to make some like Jewish foods for Passover. So I made a kugel, and
yes.
and oh my, I was like, it was like 3:00 today. I was like, I was
those
trying.
can
I was
get
watching
thick.
that UFO video that you sent me,
Yeah.
Oh,
and it's very interesting.
sharing.
and I was like 45 minutes in. I was like, and I like totally conked out for like 5 minutes. I was like, damn. And so
Who's
I
that?
like
Bob Lazar?
yeah,
Yeah.
and
Bob Lazar video?
I just made a espresso which is another thing that I learned from Italy is how to, make a stovetop espresso very
Oh,
well.
nice.
Do you have to have a special machine for that? I always thought you had to have the thing that like
Yes,
I know
you
how to
can.
do
makes
that.
like it
You can s-
compresses, or what the hell does it even do?
Yeah, I just have like a simple, like what every Italian pretty much has. It's just a mocha pot.
Yeah.
It's like a little stove top thing. It's super easy to do and takes 5 minutes on the stove. So it's perfect. So that's why I'm like, because I just had that right before this call to wake up.
I'm addicted to
Yeah.
Monster Energy drinks.
Okay.
They don't wake me up. They just make me tired.
Mm-hmm.
And my
Yeah.
heart is going 1,000 miles a fucking minute. I'm
Perfect.
shaking,
Perfect.
but still
Sounds like
tired.
you need to go see a doctor.
Dude, I quit booze. It's just Monster Energy drinks now.
Okay,
Nice.
because that's more healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Christ. So
Yeah.
you watched a little bit of the Bob Lazar video?
So funnily enough, I started watching it and immediately I was like, oh, my friend Jeremy.
You know,
You know that
guy?
dude?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Shut your mouth right now.
Well, I mean, we're not like super
From
close,
what?
but I met him 5 years ago on one of my nomadic adventures. So I will say, by the way, I mentioned that I got rid of my place in LA. I didn't live anywhere for 6 years after that. So, like, this whole quarantine thing has been pretty heavy, but it's been actually kind of a relief for me. I've actually like just been able to rest because like I was literally going nonstop for all that
Yeah.
time and it's like bouncing, boom, bing, boom, literally around the world, like bing, 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 like crazy. So, and one of these times, I found myself in Joshua Tree, and my friends Claire and Nikki Wadsworth, Claire and Allie Wadsworth are I know from Philly. I don't know if you ever did some shows with them, Mike, at all, but
I
They
don't
were-
remember a lot
yeah.
of things I did in my 20s.
yeah. So anyway, they were they're just friends that I've had from Philly, and Claire and Nikki moved out to LA the same time I did. So we kept in touch. We were in bands together, and then over the years they found this spot in Joshua Tree and opened up a restaurant. And
Where's that Joshua Tree?
in California.
Okay,
Where?
is that where Dave Matthews makes his wine or something like that? Joshua Tree wine.
I don't know. He's from here.
Dead
He's
serious.
from
He has a
Seattle. I
wine
didn't know.
called Joshua
Yeah.
Tree. Okay,
Yeah.
keep
I'm
going.
sure he does.
Sorry.
No, it's all good. So, out in that, like, it's in the high desert. So, like, there's Palm Springs down in the south, and then you have like all like it's a lot of marine bases and stuff like that. And like people like from LA will go out there for the weekend and just like take mushrooms or acid and like freak out and like discover themselves. Talk about there's a
Yeah.
lot of alien stuff.
In the
Yep.
desert, yeah.
Yeah. So, I found myself in Joshua Tree hanging out with them for a week. Again, I would just like bounce around, stay with different friends. And so I got introduced to Jeremy and his partner, and I actually cooked them tacos.
Is it George Knapp or something? George?
No.
who's
I mean
his
his romantic partner.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we like all hung out and made like guacamole and tacos and margaritas one night at his house.
Cool. What did he talk about? Anything with you?
Of course, he talked about aliens, but that was 5
Yeah.
years ago. So, and there
He
were
seems
margaritas.
like he seems like the kind of guy that it doesn't take either side. Like he doesn't take the skeptic side, or doesn't take the full blown I believe in alien side. He wants to find the truth.
Right.
That's what.
But
that's
he's
what it
very,
seems
but
like
you
to
can
me.
see like he's like very wide eyed and passionate, and like,
Yes,
he's
yeah.
he just like loves talking about that
The
stuff.
one comment I read on YouTube that made me laugh was that someone said, Jeremy seems like the kind of guy that you're at a party with that you pass a blunt to and he's just talking the entire time and it goes out.
That's pretty funny.
Could
But-
be that guy, but I mean,
small
his
world.
he's got a Netflix special.
Yeah, I need to watch it actually. I
Bob,
noticed that.
I just watched it the other day.
Yeah.
It's I hate to say this. I mean, it's kind of boring. I would have done it every part of it. I was like, I would have done that different. I would have done that different. The story is great. The story is
Right.
really great, but the way him or George Knapp or whatever his name is produced it, just it could have been better.
Didn't flow.
And to get Bob Lazar to like talk to you, I hear is really hard. So I would have made it. I would have went over it and just made it perfect. Like it just, I don't know.
right.
But that's just the outsider view, I guess.
Yeah, that's definitely something after watching that interview with Bob Lazar on Joe Rogan that I definitely want to do some more reading up on, because there's on the other side, it's just as equally passionate with people saying it's all bullshit.
Right.
So, and I don't believe that.
It's
I
just
don't
easier to
believe,
say
like,
that. I mean,
yeah.
the dude's for the past 30 years has been talking about it.
Yeah.
And
Right.
he's got all the proof. I mean, he's just so passionate about it. Dude's a fucking physicist. Like,
And also, it's like,
what reason
come
does he have
on.
a lie?
Like, you really think we're the only life form in this whole
Right.
universe?
Come on.
That's ridiculous.
Not
It's
at all.
ridiculous.
Right.
Like,
So-
I would like to think I'm pretty good at reading people. Like, I can watch you while you talk, and I can tell if you're holding something back, if you're not being truthful, if, whatever. And just watching Bob Lazar talk,
Straight up truthful.
aside
He didn't
the
even
fact
want to be
that
there.
he said
No,
he
he's
had
like
he had a
shaking,
like debilitating migraine while he was on the show, and he still
Right.
came on the show. And just the way he was talking, like, this dude is not fabricating any of this,
Right.
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 is what I got from it.
Totally.
And even Commander Fravor, like, there's naval pilots, decorated naval pilots that saw this shit firsthand.
Yeah.
How can you doubt that? How can you doubt those people and, like, who they are? You can't.
And another one, by the way, if you ever want to, like, talk to somebody for 4 hours about conspiracy theories and aliens, is Derek, from the one who does the Iron Maiden, who used to work for Iron Maiden doing the covers.
Yeah.
He is
Oh, yeah.
obsessed with that stuff, and he will
Right.
talk at you for like
I'll
literally 4
get him
hours.
on next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. I don't think this is not a conspiracy theory, though. Like, this
Right.
wouldn't be like it's past that point.
Sure. I just mean,
You know what I
like,
mean?
he'll
Maybe-
just go
maybe
on.
back in
He'll
the
be
80s.
like, he'll get
Right,
get
right.
into like how
He'll get into it. Yeah.
Jesus was Cleopatra and Caesar's
All right,
son.
we don't need
Yeah.
to get into
So-
all that shit.
Oh, wait, he
Going
will.
down the wormhole.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I
That's
don't
what
want to go
I
down a wormhole. I want to talk about the truth and the things that have actually been proven.
Yeah.
Right.
Basically.
Right.
Right.
Crazy. So crazy.
The truth
Yeah,
is out
and
there.
like, so think about this though. All right, so I have two things to talk about. Theories of mine, and I don't know if they've ever been talked about before. So this Tic Tac UFO that was like that was going into the water and out of the water, that Commander Fravor saw firsthand. And they're like, "Why is it? What's it? It was in off of San Diego or something like that." And there was a bunch of them, and it was happening for weeks. And they're like, well, why is it going into the water? Why is it doing this? And no one has an answer for it. But, like, just in my head as an electrician, I'm thinking, well, salt water is very conductive.
Mm-hmm.
How about the biggest antenna in the world? You know what I mean? Maybe a signal's being sent or something like that, That kind of blows my mind that no one's really even thought about that. The second thing I want to talk about is, what if... And I think there's books on this. This has been talked about before. What if this is us in the future? We're already headed down that path, kind of. What if this is us in the future, and this is like a time machine or something like that?
Right.
That's coming back.
Right.
Right. To tell us, to warn us about something, because we really only started seeing these things, for the most part, around World War II, like after we dropped the nukes on Japan, right? And they only show up in the sites where we test all the nukes.
Right.
So is there something they're trying to tell us? Is there something they're worried about?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think if... I think
I don't
if-
want to be a conspiracy
if the
theorist, but
technology is at that level in the future, is the future that bad? I don't know.
I mean, if
You can do
I mean,
things
maybe.
seamlessly if you can power something with no real power source.
Anti-gravity.
Nothing's connected
Yeah.
with any kind of wires. Nothing. It's all just happens.
Well, and
I
there's
mean,
just,
that's
there's
what
the
Nikola
theory.
Tesla was trying to do.
Well, there's also the theory that like these aliens and stuff did go back into the past, and that's what created the pyramids and all this
Yeah,
stuff.
right. Yeah.
And
I mean, there's lots of theories out there, but
yeah,
I mean, the stuff that was a theory back in the 80s is true now.
right,
A lot of it.
right.
So
Very interesting.
you can't really discredit anything these days, I guess. It's really hard
right,
unless you have die-hard proof.
right,
but-
The only thing that I thought about with time travel, if it's possible, is if you're trying to go back in time and be in the exact same place that you're standing, you have to account for where you are in the universe, where the rotation is of the Earth in relation to where it is in the position to the sun. Because if you go back through so much time, the Earth is going to be in a completely different place.
Yeah, you're just talking about a magnetic rotate. You're just talking about a magnetic field now. Like that might.
Am I?
These
I have no idea.
these beings might be able to predict something like that. Well, you are. You're talking
yeah.
about the rotation of the Earth and where we are to the sun and all this other shit. It's all gravity and magnetism.
I guess. I don't
Really.
know.
Did you watch the show Dark on Netflix, the German show?
No.
I like that show. It's very good.
Is
Anyway,
it in German?
it is. So subtitles are recommended.
What's it about? I love subtitle movies.
It's all about multiple dimensions and time travel.
Okay.
It's like a murder mystery kind of thing involving that. So at first you watch the first episode, you're like, oh, it's kind of like a German Stranger Things, and then it becomes very, very different.
Like 12 Monkeys almost.
It's really fucking confusing. I recommend not being stoned when you watch it.
Okay.
I won't do that.
Yeah. Because you'll be like, what? Who's that? No. Who's that? No, is that them from the future? Is that from the past? Like, because it's like always jumping back and forth between these like 33-year cycles.
Oh, jeez.
Okay.
So you have to really like pay attention. Well,
Really,
and it's
have
also
to
you
have some time to kill if you want to watch that, I guess.
Yeah, but it's
can't think of
amazing.
it.
I love it. Anyway.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. I mean, it's over now. I'm sad.
Oh, it's like what's like one season of it, or
3 seasons.
3 seasons of it. Okay.
Yeah.
Doesn't that suck when you get to the end? You're like, when the fuck is the next one coming out?
Yeah. Well, it's this one ties it up. It ties it up.
Oh, so it's over. Show's done.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
You know what me and my wife do without fail pretty much is binge watch an entire show and not watch the last season.
Yeah. Except for The Sopranos.
There's
The
like
Sopranos was good all the way through.
She won't watch The Sopranos.
She won't even start it, or she hasn't even tried?
She hasn't even tried.
Why
She already
not?
knows what happened.
It's fucking good, dude.
She watched the last episode with me, so she already knows how it ends. But
I never saw it, by the way.
Back and watch it. Oh, you gotta watch Sopranos.
Yeah.
It's the greatest show ever made.
Oh my god!
And The Wire.
There's like 6.
Fantastic.
I need to watch that one too. I watched.
Yeah.
Is it
I watched
6 or
Breaking
7
Bad.
seasons?
Breaking Bad was great.
Yeah.
Breaking Bad, I tried watching that for, I think I got to season 3 or something, and then I was just like, oh man, all right, something happened. I just didn't. And then once you get off of it, you forget about everything.
That's how me with
else.
Game of
You
Thrones.
gotta start over again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Never watched Game of Thrones.
That was another one where I kept watching the pilot over and over. I'm like, I am way too confused. What the
Yeah.
hell is happening?
Yeah.
And now that I know like how it kind of ends, I'm kind of like, I don't want to watch it now.
Yeah. No, you got to watch The Sopranos. That is a
That's a good
absolute must. Absolute must.
Band of Brothers is another good one.
Yep.
She can't even watch
Yeah.
Band of Brothers.
Why?
No, I'm saying she can't watch it, or she
April?
can, or she can. April.
Oh, April.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she'd watch it.
He's
yeah.
like, what? What do you mean? What?
I
Why
thought
can't
you were
you
talking
watch
about
it?
Jess. Okay.
Oh no.
Oh boy. All right. Well,
That's my shit. War shows. I don't think she's really interested in that.
yeah.
My wife Jess. Are you interested in that, Julie?
I mean,
That era at
yeah.
all? Like even if it's
I've
not
heard
war,
I
I
did-
mean,
I've heard it's good, so I'll check it out. I mean, yeah. I don't know.
sure.
I don't discriminate like genres really. Except for rom-coms, I don't want to watch those. Never.
Nobody does.
No.
I don't know why they keep making
are
them.
you gonna dye your hair again when it comes time to like purple or some shit when it comes time to like
I mean, it's
jam
fine.
again?
It's finally growing, so I kind of like the fact that it's growing again. Because it turns out bleaching your hair twice a year is actually really bad for growing.
Yeah.
That's what I learned.
Okay.
So
Probably could have read one article. on
yeah,
that
no.
one,
I
and
mean,
then-
I didn't think it was gonna keep going, and then like it was kept getting shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter. I'm like, I don't like this anymore. So
Yeah, I haven't gotten a haircut since COVID started.
me neither. I haven't gotten one since December 2019. Yeah. There it is.
Yeah. Wow, Mike, your shit's getting pretty long. You could do a man bun.
Oh no. Yeah,
do a man
you
bun
can
right
see
now.
how much
Let's see
mine's
it.
growing because the blonde.
Yeah.
That's the last time I got it bleached, so it grew that much.
Yeah. Yeah, I can definitely do a man bun. I'm not gonna, but I can.
Get one of those
if I so
deep
choose.
V-neck shirts, and
You should, get a V-neck shirt and do a man bun, and then
Listen
just
to some
surprise
Iron and
April and be like,
Wine.
"What's up, baby?"
with like no socks and
It's
some
like date
moccasins.
night. High
Rolled up,
socks.
rolled up. No socks.
Get like a little elephant on your wiener or something.
Some khakis rolled up around the ankles.
Nice
Rolled
pair
up
of
khakis
slacks.
around the ankles. Yep. There you go. Then you'd be from what? Oregon?
L.A.
LA.
LA.
Okay.
Dude, I've been to LA once. It was very weird.
It is
Is it to
weird.
visit John?
It was sort of like a fear and loathing trip with me and my buddy Andy. It was back in 2003, and it was absolutely crazy. But one thing I did remember was being at a music store called Black Market Music, which doesn't exist anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I remember going in there and just the most hard to find, like, rare music equipment. They had half of one of Alex Van Halen's drum sets. They had just a wall of like 60s to 70s J basses owned by Brent, and all of a sudden
So
it
they were
just
owned by
disappeared.
famous people already,
Yeah.
and you can buy them. Were they expensive?
Yes.
Yes, of
Extremely.
course.
Were they signed or anything like that?
No.
Like, why were they expensive? Just because they were top of the line, or because
The
they were
dude's
owned
like,
by someone
that
famous?
was used on that record. This was used on this live tour. This was
Oh,
used by
okay.
Which, and
aliens.
also
Is
those
that-
was like-
and those
could that be
pieces
fake?
alone are already going to be worth a lot anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Without
but how
all
do
that
you
credit.
know? How do you know it's real though?
Right.
Do you?
I take the guy's word for it. He seemed like a straight shooter.
I want a certificate of authenticity.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want to see a fucking picture with him holding that, and I want to see the scratch that's
Yeah.
right there, and that scratch that's up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it disappeared. Never saw it again. Very strange. But LA is a very, very weird place.
It's a high
Definitely.
contrast town. That's what.
A lot of people are moving out of there right now.
Yeah.
Tesla moved out of there. Joe Rogan moved out of there.
Yeah,
Oh, they moved to Texas.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's just it's really expensive. Obviously, I mean, it's not as expensive as New York. I mean, I think both the places are probably getting cheaper right now, at least rent wise, because people are moving out in droves.
Mm-hmm.
But people are just I think literally burned out by the sun. And I'm also friends with Ron. What's his name? Jones. He does like the Family. No, is he Family Guy? Yeah, and like all like Rick and Morty.
The composer.
The composer.
Oh,
And he
wow.
was like, and he's from up here, and he has his studio relocated up here now in Seattle
Okay.
area, because he just said like he was doing a session with the full string band, and somebody just like dropped dead of an aneurysm, like right there on the spot. Like the stress
Jesus.
level is so high, like to that hustle. He's like,
Yeah.
I can't stay here. Like it's the rat race is like too real. It's too intense. Like I need to
Yeah.
relax. I need to chill.
Yeah, I was there for a couple of days, and by the time I left, it was like it was. I could the entire LA story could take an entire weekend to tell, and it is like Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, like the level of fucking absolute
Just
debauchery.
confusement.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
Is it the people
no,
that make it
just-
that way, or just like
it's
what makes it
everything.
that way?
It's being
Everything.
very heavily intoxicated on multiple things, and
But that's
interacting
you.
with
I mean, that's
people.
not. What else? Like, if you were there sober, like, would it still be that fucked up? Like, there are just so many people.
It's a weird mentality.
and
Yep.
the in my head, I've never been there, but I just think like right off the bat, fake.
Right.
Like
I mean,
I feel like
that's-
everyone
and-
needs to be someone else.
and that's a stereotype that people get a lot. I mean, that perception, like, and I have to say I agree with it. It's kind of like I noticed like the connections are fake. The people are very flaky. Like you make a plan. I fucking hate that when you make a plan with somebody and you're like, okay, we're gonna meet here at this time and do this, and then
Yeah.
they like flake out. It drives me insane.
Oh.
But there's always like so much
Yeah.
traffic that people flake out all the time.
It's like
Yeah.
your time's not important, but their time is, or some shit.
Exactly,
Like
and people are always just wanting to use you to level up.
that. Ugh.
And
That's
you just,
a Black Mirrors episode.
don't
Like
like
where
it.
their phone.
totally.
You ever see Black
yeah.
Mirrors?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's like with their phones. It's like you rate people on
Exactly.
on an app or some
100%.
shit. Yeah.
I mean that's pretty close to now anyway.
yeah.
Seriously, but yeah, like I mean obviously my experience like living with Danny and that's like another level. Like if you have some sort of money and you're connected, it's like it's like a fucking playground. It's fun.
Right. Yeah.
And I was attracted to that. But then I realized, like, when I was like pantomiming for a country music video, like, this is not what I want to do. I don't want to be like this, just being hired because I'm a woman kind of thing. Like, originally I thought that like 26-year-old me was like, yeah, I'm a female bass player. Like, a totally fucked up way of thinking. Like, I'm going to get jobs because, there aren't enough of us and people want that. And yeah, that's true. But like the opportunities that I was getting were not great. And yeah, I could have given it more time. It's a lot of people's story. They only last like a year because they realize like,
this ain't gonna happen. Yeah.
No, and I just kept feeling like I'm gonna die if I stay here. I have to get out.
Yeah.
And I really thought actually that it was just my living situation. And I thought, okay, if I change that and I come back after this tour and all over Europe ends, like I'll find another place in LA and I'll try to make it work. I never went back. I mean, I went back to like see friends and stuff, but ultimately, I knew that it wasn't for me. I mean, I even auditioned. Reggie Watts called me to audition for the Late Late Show house band gig. So I did fly out for that, which I thought was like, okay, I will live in LA if I can get this gig because this will be that level, where
move you up a step.
Yeah, where you're making enough and you're connected enough, and you'll just find work because you're on TV every day.
And then once you're connected, it just moves from there, and you get more connected and more connected.
Of course.
Yeah.
But I didn't get the gig, so I left.
But then you would have But it could be a good thing because maybe you would have found yourself at a party someday.
Oh yeah. Oh, totally.
With people that you don't relate to, like that are just like talking about money.
Oh, that is every day.
Fucking connection.
Yeah.
And like who gives a shit?
Exactly. And and as being from Philly, like we are so anti
You're like,
that.
Fucking who cares? Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck you guys.
Fuck
you guys. Use guys.
Yeah.
I think that about wraps it up, Julie.
That's like a fuck LA. All right.
Yeah, fuck LA. Let's just leave it at that. I mean, that's a good wrap up there.
You have anything you want to promote? Anything you're working on right now?
I mean, you can always check out. I always post stuff on Bandcamp, so people subscribe to julieslick.bandcamp.com. I put all the covers and things that I've been working on in the last year up there, as well as like I don't know, there's a crap ton of records that I've done over the years with Echotest and other bands, other collaborations that I have. Cool jams with like Marco Minnemann are on there. So, and then tomorrow, I mean, well, as not that this will air like right now, but like keep an eye out for Bandcamp Fridays that are still happening right now. First Friday of every month, the artist gets full proceeds. That's way better than Spotify or Apple Music, the way they pay out. So Bandcamp all the way. Check that out. And I will have a new Echotest record soon, I promise.
Okay. Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. And you're on YouTube still? You're still posting new stuff up on YouTube? Yes,
and I do. And now that I'm like, resettled in like a new place, I have like a cool green screen and I've got these herbs that I'm trying not to kill in the background. So I do plan on making some more videos now that I'm like more grounded.
Cool.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Good. Hey, great to have you on, Julie.
Yeah. Great talking to you guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you,
come on again. We'll get you on again sometime.
Yeah.
When we'll catch up with you later and see
what more stories. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have more, way more.
Excellent.
Right.
Let's talk about them.
Yeah.
All right, Julie. Thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you guys.
All right, and we'll talk to everyone next week.
All right.
All
Bye-bye.
right. Bye.
Join the boys next week for another round of unprepared conversation. For episode segments, extras, and upcoming guest interviews, check out 2Ds and an F podcast pages on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Full-length episodes are available on YouTube, Spotify, and just about everywhere other podcasts are found. Don't forget to like and subscribe. The 2Ds and an F podcast is a Dunnsound production.